new segment that we have brought in I'm very excited about. It is our wins and fails segment, specifically our Pro Bowl wins and fails. All right, I'm going to let you go first, Nick. The first player that you selected was Lamar Jackson.
Right. So when it comes to be a Pro Bowl player, there are three things I look for. One, the clutch factor. Do you come up with big plays and big situations, right? And this is Lamar Jackson, 100% done this. Big comebacks throughout the career. Kansas City, Minnesota, Indianapolis, no doubt about it. There's been others too. He's been a clutch player. But the number two on the list is consistency and availability. And this is where Lamar Jackson falls off the list. He's missed 3 games due to injury and illness and part of the fourth. He's had a few real stinkers of games. He had a 4-pick game against Cleveland that you and I saw live. So for the consistency factor, week in and week out, I can't give Lamar Jackson the nod here. And number 3, production. And again, this goes back to the interceptions. He's had a lot of interceptions, has a below average passer rating. You know, his offense was inconsistent even before he got hurt. 10 points against Miami, 16 against Cleveland, 19 against Pittsburgh. I don't think the production's been there for Lamar Jackson. He was voted to the Pro Bowl. This is a big fail in my mind. He should not have been a Pro Bowl quarterback.
Yeah, sadly, as a Ravens fan, I think Lamar's a great player. I think we have a good future. But this year is not the year to vote. And I think, like you said, there's got to be some factors that they have into Pro Bowl voting, and they need to look at all of the factors before they make their decision. But I'd agree, this is a fail. Who do you have next on your list?
So the next guy on my list is Kyle Pitts, tight end for the Atlanta Falcons. Again, going back to the 3 factors I talk about: clutch, consistency and availability, and stats production. In clutch, Kyle Pitts has been there. He had big catches to win the games against the Miami, the Jets in the middle of the year. How about consistency? This guy started and been in every game this season as a rookie. Big deal there. And he has at least 2 catches in every game. That's big. He never disappears. He's always, active and engaged in a big focal point of that offense. And then number 3, production. This guy is 3rd among all NFL tight ends in receiving yards. He has more tight end receiving yards than George Kittle. He leads the NFC. Of the top 30 players in receiving yards, tight ends and receivers in the NFL, he is 5th in yards per catch. This is an absolute win having to the Pro Bowl. This guy's been a focal point for an offense that's been up and down and inconsistent, but Pitts has been a big-name player for them since day one, coming out of Florida as a rookie this year. And I give the Pro Bowl voting staff a lot of credit here. There was probably some temptation to go with some bigger names on better teams. You look at Zach Ertz, Arizona, Dalton Schultz for Dallas, or Dallas Goedert in Philly. But Kyle Pitts has been a better player in all of them. He's been productive. He's been efficient. He's been available in every game, and he's made clutch plays multiple times this season. Great win for the Pro Bowl team getting Kyle Pitts on board.
Yeah, and I love Pitts. I picked Pitts as my preseason offensive rookie of the year. I don't know if he's going to quite make that cut because of the team that he was on. Wasn't able to get him the stats that he needed, but he's been fantastic. So I absolutely love your win here. Kyle Pitts, big win for the Pro Bowl committee. But moving on to my wins and fails. First up, I have another Falcons player, not planned, it just so happened to be, Cordarrelle Patterson for the Falcons. Phenomenal player. Absolutely great this season. And he's been a dual threat. As of right now, he has 579 receiving yards, 6 touchdowns. He has 523 rushing yards and another 5 touchdowns. So over 1,000, almost 1,100 total yards and 11 touchdowns. That is some pretty good production, and I think the versatility that Patterson has been unparalleled. You don't see anyone play the position that he is playing. He's one of the best hybrid players out there right now, and I think that it is an absolute fail that they did not elect Cordarrelle Patterson to the Pro Bowl this year. I think he much deserved it. He, like Pitts, was a star on a not-so-star-studded Atlanta Falcons team. He battled through adversity. They lost their top receiver. He took a big step up and was able to, take the leap and be the guy that they could lean on. And really this year, outside of Pitts and Patterson, no one's scoring points on the Atlanta Falcons. So I think is a huge missed opportunity for the Pro Bowl committee.
Yeah, exactly. Patterson's done everything. He's been clutch, had that huge catch to beat the Saints in the Superdome. He's been obviously very consistent. He's been a receiver and running threat, extremely productive, like you already mentioned. I think the thing that hurts Patterson, and this is one of the problems with the Pro Bowl, Patterson's a good football player. He's not a wide receiver. He's not a slot receiver. He's not a running back. He's kind of everything, right? Does a lot of it really well, extremely versatile. He's a heck of a football player. Unfortunately, there isn't a spot on the Pro Bowl that's called football player. And I think a lot of the Pro Bowl committee kind of just lost sight of that, right? It says, well, he doesn't have enough rushing yards to be a Pro Bowl running back and not enough receiving yards to be a Pro Bowl receiver. The heck with that. This guy's been a star. He's been a great player all season. It's been just an awesome deal to watch him play. I agree with you. This is a fail that he's not on the Pro Bowl.
Well, that's what we should do. We should add in Pro Bowl position best football player. Best football guy. I think that should be our new position. But I agree, and I'm glad you agree. Patterson, my fail. Next up, very surprising. We picked these independent of each other, so not a coincidence. But I have picked a Ravens player. Not surprising for me, but Mark Andrews. I think not only Mark Andrews being selected to the Pro Bowl was a win for me, but Mark Andrews being selected as a starter over Travis Kelce, someone that people like to throw around as one of the better tight ends out there, is my big win. And I'll go off of your metric, Nick. 1, has he been productive? 1,200 receiving yards, probably first in all of tight ends, 9 touchdowns, probably in the top 2 or 3 of all tight ends, and he's got 12.8 yards per catch, which is pretty dang good as well. He has been very productive. Has he been consistent? Yes, he has been the most consistent player on Baltimore all year. He's clutch. He is able to make big plays all game. Whenever people get blanketed or forgotten during the game, there's always been one guy on Baltimore who has shown up every single game, and we've seen it live. We'll probably see it again this coming weekend, the Rams game. He is always open, and he's always making... And do you remember the catch he made in the Browns game where he gets knocked over on pass interference and somehow manages? He makes the most insane catches as well. So he's been clutch, he's been consistent, and he's been available. He's absolutely my win for the Pro Bowl this season.
And there's another fact about Andrews here that I think you'll agree with is, he's a receiving threat, but with the injuries Baltimore has had at tight end, right? They're blocking tight ends, have had some injuries, and obviously on the offensive line, he's had to do a lot of time blocking.
He stepped up major.
So he's been a high-level impact blocker, and he's still extremely productive as a receiver. A lot of teams, they have like a second tight end that they kind of fill in to do more blocking in certain situations. Not with Andrews and not with Baltimore. He's been able to step up and be a great blocker and a great receiver. And I can't tell you the number of games where I watch Baltimore, big 3rd and 4th down, where, all they really have to do is basically cover Mark Andrews. And teams can't. He has been able to just beat zone, beat man, makes great catches. He's an awesome player and 100% win here. Deserves to be a starter in the Pro Bowl. He's had an amazing season. So shout out to Mark Andrews.
And I think win, fail for us, good on us for recognizing the tight ends. One of my favorite position, hybrid blocking, pass-catching tight end, or pass-catching blocking fullback, 2 of my favorite positions. So good for us, and good for you. I think people have said Jackson has done a lot this season, and yeah, he's done a lot with a little, but no, he's had some very messy games in the turnover department, and I don't think that he deserves to be there. So I think getting away from people making it in on name recognition alone is something we need to get away from. And I think the Pro Bowl voting, I think it's done entirely too early in the season because there's still like 3 or 4 more games that, like you said, if your metric, what was it? Clutch, consistent, and availability.
It's clutch, it's consistency, and it's production.
Yeah. So if you disappear the last 4 games of the season, I don't think that you deserve to be in the Pro Bowl. I think it has to be a season-long thing.
Right. Like we talked about, you can have a bad game or two. Obviously, you can miss a game or two. But, when you look at Jackson, who's missed essentially 4 games due to injury and illness, and he's had, 2 real stinkers when I look at the Miami game and I look at the Browns game that you and I went to, that's 6 games, 6 out of 15 games where he's missed or had bad luck. That's just not enough. He's had a great first half of the season. Don't get me wrong, especially with the comebacks. But you can't be a Pro Bowler on the strength of 9 out of 15 games.
Yeah. And this is the same thing where Jackson has been on the bad end. This is like us last year with Dak. When Dak gets injured, Dak had one of the best starts to the season ever, but we can't vote him in off of such a hot start because he got hurt and he missed the rest of the season. I absolutely think he was an MVP Pro Bowl candidate last year when he got off to such a hot start with Dallas. But then he gets hurt, and we can't just say, okay, well, he started off strong. Let's just vote him in anyways. You can't. Jackson started off strong, but he's kind of fizzled out, whether it's because lack of team being injured and things like that. But anyways, he's fizzled off, and we just can't let that slide, in my opinion.